Oh, look at that.
Yeah, look at that. Isn't that neat? All right. Let's just double check, make sure that we are live. I believe we are live. Yes, we are live. So, good evening, everybody. I'm Dustin Coiner from TrackDaz here in SoCal, and I am on with the team boss, Chris Ulrich. He's like this dude that used to be a racer. I've known him since he was a teenager, and now he's an old guy with kids. And he runs that whole circus over there with the M4 team, and a lot of people go to him. What is up, Chris?
What's going on, man? Thanks for having me. I'm sorry my podcasting studio is not quite up to spec like yours. I need a microphone.
I wouldn't call this really a studio. This is like my home office, dude. I just bought a mic and some headphones. Like it's.
You're looking pro, dude.
Appreciate that, Chris.
Yeah.
Appreciate that, Chris. So you know what, man? Like you've been in this game for a long time. Like I said, I've known you for over 20 years. We were talking about it earlier today, right? And man, like, what the hell happened? We got old somehow. I don't know. But you had hair and it was dark when I met you, and I had hair and it was dark. I have no hair now, and you're starting to look like Mike Canfield. So.
Nah, man, I'm still okay. I'm doing okay. I was a little thin. It's still, if you keep a one clip, you can't really. You can.
Oh.
It doesn't show up the gray as much.
There you go.
Anyway, yeah, I'm never, anyway, I'm going all natural on that. But
right on.
Yeah, I have teenagers now, actually. My son's a teenager.
Dude,
so it's
that's crazy.
It's been quite a journey, but
you trying to build another generation of racers?
If he wants to go racing, he's more than welcome. I'll support it, but it's up to him, 100%. That's for the racing thing. Like, there's 4 Ulrich kids, from my father and my older brother and my older brother. I got an older sister and then a younger sister. So I'm the third kid, and I'm the only one that went racing. So all of them had the opportunity, I think, if they wanted to, if they gravitated towards it. But it was like, the racing thing was, man, I lived and breathed it from the get-go, like from the start. It was, we had, obviously the team was founded in 1980 by my father and Bruce Hammer. And so,
right.
From the time I was in diapers, I was going to races. But then we had all these cool motorcycle racers coming, staying at the house, and wanted to go hang out with them and wanted to be like them. So, I was hot to go racing. It took a long time too, because, my mom obviously being around the business for that long, we had some pretty big, not to start the show off on a down note, but the team's co-founder, Bruce Hammer, which is how you get the name Team Hammer.
Yeah.
He was paralyzed in 1982, hit a guardrail on the outside of the carousel at Road America, and then 1988, another good rider of ours and a good friend of my dad's, Russ Paulk, was killed at Sears Point, which is now Sonoma Raceway or whatever, in Turn 8.
Yeah.
So, there's and many others, right? There's been many others in that era, right? When you made a small mistake and you got hurt pretty badly. So that wasn't something necessarily my mom wanted to see her kid do, but I was bound and determined, and then I screwed up in school, and I think my dad saw that opportunity that hey, look, I'll take you racing if you stop being an idiot. And so it was overnight. The transition was overnight. It was like, yes, no problem.
That's awesome. I mean, when I met you, you were riding a 250 with a giant "Kids Don't Smoke" logo on the side.
Yep. Yeah, that was 98 or 99. Actually, that program started in 1997, and it was an interesting thing, right? We'd gone racing, and it takes money to go racing. So California had a bunch of anti-smoking campaigns, and so we went and got a grant from the state of California, and did that to promote the anti-smoking project. And hell, that had me going to high schools and middle schools and elementary schools as a 17 or 18-year-old and talking to my peers about not smoking cigarettes. And so that was a pretty
big deal.
Probably could have done a better job at it. But, it was, I'd go to Road America. I went to Road America. I went to Sheboygan High School, 1 year in 98. And I went to Paris High School a few times down in Southern California. And that one was rough. That was an assembly. That was, but I got through it. I used to do it with a guy that had lost his voice box and all that. And it was, I saw him in a lot of events. But anyway, yeah. So that was how that came around. And really, not to get too wordy on that, it was actually early in the '90s. We'd had a man, and now I can't even think of the name. They ended up going with Kenny Roberts. So started with a W. No, it wasn't Winston, but it was something else. And they wanted to sponsor a cigarette company, wanted to sponsor a team. My dad turned the deal down. It was like a $300K deal in like the '90s.
Wow.
And he said, "Oh, what am I going to tell my kids what am I going to tell my kids when I tell them not to smoke?" Because he hated smoking. And so it, obviously that was a business that was lost at that time, and that was a lot of money in the '80s or '90s. And
Right.
it is what it is. And he stuck to his guns. So, and years later, then we found that opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've seen. Am I mistaken? I think I've seen another kid run that logo on a bike a few years ago.
Elena Myers.
Yeah, Elena Myers. Yeah.
Elena Myers. Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to know, like, if you were to ever bring back that brand, or you had plans to continue it somehow.
No, I think no. I mean, it was a good opportunity to help push that along, and that wasn't really anything that was funded by anybody. It was our project and our message that we wanted to put out there, and it was a good opportunity. We had a young female racer that was quite fast, personable, and it was just a good opportunity to revive that out again and see what we could do.
I mean, and then after that, pretty much, I would always see you in tech at WSCC with your 750s and 600s and whatever, even thousands, I think. And you'd always be like, "Hey man, could you like come tech me in my garage?"
That was the bro deal. It was easy.
Yeah, I mean, I usually would, but yeah, I mean, you did a lot of club racing too, man. Like I know you were a regular at WSBC. Your dad was as well.
Yeah. Sponsored the 125 class for a long time.
That's right.
Sponsored the 250. We sponsored the 250/50.
The 250/50, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys, you were like one of those dudes that hung on to the 250 for a while, but you were not the guy that hung on to it all the way to the end.
The 250 thing. So, at that time, right, it was the graduate, it was the path. So Nicky Hayden did it. All the Hayden brothers did that.
Yeah.
That path. It was the path you took. Hopkins not so much because Al Lyons, that deal kind of blew up, but it was the path. You started 50s, 80s, 125s, 250s, and then you went wherever you're going to go. And the riding the GP bikes at that time gave you the foundation of settings and understanding, because I mean, we're going through transmission gears, all sorts of settings to understand things. So it was a good education, rigid chassis, and before you got on a four-stroke. And so that was the path. But obviously that went away. So yeah, I did. Started in 1993 racing, so that was 50s, and then I went to an 80, and then 94 I got on a 125, but it wasn't very good at that time. I mean I won a bunch of stuff on the 80s, but my 125 transition took a few years. Cause I remember like the first time they took me on a 125, I go, this guy Chris Rogers was my chaperone most places. So Chris Rogers and some other guy named Rodney Fee. And my old man's out riding. Or he's doing something, and we're running a Team Hammer school, and those two were like, "Hey Chris, you want to ride this 125?" And so they just sent me out. I was riding my 80 around, and they sent me out on this 125. And I remember I got over the top of turn 6 and was like, "Okay, dude, I'm gonna pin it." And it was like my eyes were like wide open. It was so badass, And I just got on a 80 to a 125, so I don't know what the thing made,
Yeah.
But it was a turbocharged Superbike at the time. It was Ford, didn't know. So that kind of started the transition towards that, and they sent me out on an 18-inch wheel 1989 125 at some club race at Streets of Willow. So that was my baptism by fire, and then got my own bike. But anyway, did the 94, and was supposed to go. I did most of the weird stuff in 94. Was supposed to do the 95 season, full-blown national season, and that was the year the Haydens got popped for being underage. So they overnight the age limit went from 14 to 16 and so I had to wait another year, which probably wasn't a bad thing anyway. So I mean, I don't, I'm it's all good. It's all good. Actually, I endorse the 16-year-old age limit now because
Oh, yeah?
I'm not a knowing what I know and what I've been experienced through and working with kids and stuff. It's they got to wait till they're 16. I don't think it's a bad thing.
For the national series.
Yep, for the national series.
Yeah, I think club race at 14. I think, right?
Yeah.
Some earlier.
I don't necessarily think they should be on 600s at 14. I think 16. Your mindset from when you change from, especially having kids, I can see it, like the change in my own son from 12 to 13 and moving on. It's like I'm looking at him going, he's a pretty mature kid, and I'm going, no,
Yeah.
not ready here,
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't mind it. I mean, now that the FIM's changed the whole rule too, I'm not to get in the weeds on that, but now that the FIM's changed that rule, I think it's good. It's going to be good for the U.S.
Yeah, you want to talk a little bit about what that rule specifically is?
They moved the minimum age limit. Man, thanks for calling me out on that. It goes.
I know Greg White would
16.
know. I don't know anything. I'm just a dummy.
Yeah, I should have put that in my notes on the thing. I didn't know I was going to go down this rabbit hole.
I didn't either, bro. It just goes how it goes.
Yeah, it raises the limits to like 16, 18.
Right on.
Basically, it eliminates that need for the kid to be over there going Mach 10 at 14 years old. So,
Right.
and,
I mean, we've
I wrote a column about this too. So
we've seen our fair share of it, right? I mean,
Yep.
going all the way back to, Peter Lentz, right? I mean,
Yep. Dude, that was a rough day at Indy, man. I'm sitting there signing autographs with the kid, and then the next thing you know, he's dead. And it's like, dude.
Yeah.
It's he was on the road racing road booth. It was rough.
Yeah. Yeah,
He was
absolutely.
on a road racing road bike.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's
All
rough.
right. So you, like I said, you've done a lot of club racing. You did a lot of sprints and endurance too, right? Like your whole family is like all about the endurance. Talk a little bit about that. Like, what's your deal?
The foundation in the endurance thing is goes back to the I mean, it's the founding of the team. I mean, you use foundation way too many times in that sentence.
Yeah.
1980. So everyone know. I mean, most for your audience, my father is John Ulrich. So 2017
I
Hall
don't
of
think
Famer.
that's a
So
secret, right?
some people don't know, and some people look at John Ulrich now as Chris Ulrich's dad. So the generation has changed a little bit. But anyway, so him, he was working for Cycle World at the time, and he worked for all the big magazines up until he founded Road Racing World, actually, and goes to Suzuka 8 hours and rides a Milwaukee. I think it was Milwaukee Kawasaki. And he comes back to the U.S. and starts talking to his racing buddies and like, dude, if we get one of those things, we can really do some damage over here in the U.S. So he talked to a few different guys, and I think the deal was, we go 50, I go 50, and then we go racing. And most of the guys he was talking to, I ain't gonna pay. And so then he met Bruce, and they went, okay, great, yeah, I'm in. I think my dad was 26 and Bruce was 32, and he was Bruce finished second in the AMA F1 championship, I think in 80 or 81. I should have notes with
Like
all
I
that
said, dude,
stuff.
Greg White would know this. I wouldn't.
I'm not sure Greg White would know this. I think.
Dude, he knows everything, right? Like that dude.
He does know a lot of shit.
Yeah.
And so anyway, they threw down their money and they went racing, and they won like the first 5 races in 81 or 80 and 81, and then 82 Bruce got hurt, so it was a pretty big disaster. But then the team rebounded to win the championship in 80, and set sail. 85 was beaten 85, won it again in 86, beaten 87, maybe won it again in 87.
When did you start endurance racing? Because I know you've done a little bit of it as well, right?
First race was 1998, but it wasn't very good. It was like they were trying to. I was racing 250 and get 600, but so going back. Sorry, I got to finish the thought on the team. So basically, the team ended up winning 13 championships, 138 endurance races over the years, and basically owned owned National Endurance Racing for quite a long time, and, you know, Weir stuff, and then they showed up at some of those AMA races and won those too. So that was a very, very strong team, and a lot of guys came out of that program, from Thomas Stevens, Jamie Hacking, Chuck Graves, Sadowski, Jamie James, Mike Harv.
Wow, dude.
Oh, dude, it's a lot of guys.
It sounds like a lot of guys.
Donald Jacks, you know, he went to Yosh. Josh Hayes. You should have seen Josh Hayes when he showed up. I love Josh Hayes, good friend of mine. You should have seen him when he showed up with a truck in 1996. It's good. Grant Lopez, Hopkins. Hopkins didn't come out of the endurance stuff.
Yeah, Hopkins came out of the mini thing, right?
Yeah, he came out of the mini thing. He came sprint racing. Like, he was, you know, he was Mr. Talent. So he you know, that was by the time the team had transitioned away from AMA racing. I mean, away from Weir racing. So, anyways, we had so many guys that came through the program and went on. Mike Smith was one of them. He ended up at Yosh, then Honda, then Ducati, and so anyway, a lot of young guys got a start at that team doing the endurance stuff, and then they got promoted to, you know, earn their way on another deal. And it was a good way to get a lot of track time, and that was a pressure cooker situation over there riding for JU. I think the expectation was a lap an hour. So, and you didn't get it. It was bad news. So, anyway, they dominated that, and they went AMA racing in full time in 98 and 99. It was part time in 98. They went FUSA racing, so they were doing FUSA. Went FUSA racing in 90. Full time in 99. They were doing both series in 2000. So showed up with Josh Hayes at Daytona on the 750 Supersport race and won it on Michelin's. So, and they're like, where do these guys come from? Well, kind of been around for a long time. You just don't look outside the paddock. So,
right.
And that started it. The team won the 2000. Hopkins won the 2000 750 Supersport Championship, and then 2001 at Form Extreme, and then we got him on the Red Bull team. Peter Clifford, the guy that was running the team, you know, he used to come over and sleep on our couch. So old friends with my dad. So
right.
He, you know, called us up. Hey man, what do you got? And said we got John Hopkins, but it's going to be a couple of years. So by the time we developed him, like that whole 2001 season, he was over there testing 500s. Anyway, so going back to that, so that leads us to 2001.
Yeah.
And
you're endurance racing. You're 98. Yep. You tried it. It sucked.
Yeah. Well, I was just not ready. Didn't have my head wrapped around that whole four-stroke thing yet. You know,
okay.
Early in development, broke my arm. Blah 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 blah. I get to 90, 98, 99. I finished third in this 250 championship. 2000 comes around, and I realize I'm like looking around. And I got this 90 horsepower TZ250, the 5454 engine. I'm riding for World Sports. The thing is badass. I'm riding pretty well, learning a bunch of stuff. Racing it Rich Oliver and Roland and Sorensen and all those guys. So some pretty strong 250 guys.
Yeah.
I kind of start looking around.
Legends, right?
I mean, legends in the AMA paddock. Looking around, I'm kind of like looking at this going, man, this is a dead end. and it just, boom, dead end. This is a dead end. Fuck it. I'm out. I'm going to go ride four strokes. And so I started just kind of moving over, you know, obviously we had good connections with Suzuki. And so, but the big team, the Valvoline MGO Suzuki team, the Team Hammer team was full, you know, and that was, even though my parents or my family owned the team, right? It was like, dude, you got to earn your keep, buddy.
Yeah.
So you're not just automatically going to get signed by this team. You can't perform. Suzuki ain't going to do nothing. Valvoline ain't going to do nothing. So.
By the way, what you're saying right there is contrary to the WSMC paddock rumor mill, right?
Yeah, those guys didn't know shit.
Yeah.
You got to earn your keep. You know, I mean, even like if you go back to that kids don't smoke thing, right?
Yeah.
It's like, Chris, figure out how to fund your racing. Yes. Okay. We'll figure that out. Okay. You have to work to do this. Okay. No problem. I'll figure that out. Paint the house. Go find sponsors. You know, I had some very, very good guidance, but the work had to be done.
Yeah.
Drive the truck. Anyway, whatever. Hey, you know, outside looking in, whatever, dude.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
So I start transitioning over to the four-stroke stuff and race a 600 for Vezra Suzuki, um, and did Pocono, Daytona, somewhere else. Pocono was horrible. Daytona was a lot better. I think I was in the top 10 by the time I got over there.
And that's endurance racing, right?
No, no, not endurance racing. That was sprint race. Formula USA, sport bike, or whatever they call it, right?
Okay. Yeah,
So
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, dude, like Hawkins and those guys were in those classes. Spees at the time was riding for the team, and he was in those classes in the 600.
Oh shit.
And so, you know, okay, I'm just treading. Then I got that 600, and took it to Willow so I could ride it at Willow over winter. And then they decided, okay, we're gonna go do. Probably the class for me was 750 Super Sport because it wasn't quite as cutthroat as the 600 class with not as many factory guys. Okay, great. So I can develop a little bit, not get my head kicked in completely, and get some confidence, and then we'll go. Okay. So we did that, but then in parallel, I signed up to ride the Vezra Suzuki endurance bike in 2001. The new GSXR 1000, 2001 GSXR 1000 came out. Big push, doing endurance, doing all this other stuff. And the year before, actually, in 2000, we did the 20. Yeah, we did the 24
hour
hour.
at
I
Willow.
forgot about that.
Yeah.
My team won.
Yeah.
Well, the team I was on won. Sorry, I was.
I had just gotten out of novice,
Yeah.
and yeah, I couldn't make that one, and there wasn't any more after that.
Dude,
so-
it was. I'm gonna admit, like people are like, man, you should bring it back to 24. I'm like, no. Those things suck, dude. I mean, it's cool. I'd do it again, but like, I'd have to train a lot, obviously. But it's an experience. It's cool. It's not an experience I would necessarily want to participate in again.
Like how was your like I'm guessing that endurance racing helped your sprint
Yeah.
racing, right?
Absolutely. It made me, that year. It cut so much development time off of me, right? So, we did a 24 hour, and that was good. I think they set a lap time target for me because I was like, it was funny. I'm gonna tell a story, and I'm not. Earlier in the year, remember Mark Miller,
The Thriller?
the Thriller. So Thriller invites me out to ride Stamboli's R1, right? And
The R71.
yeah, whatever bike they raced in the 24 hour that year.
Yep.
And so he invites me out for the R1, and it's me, Castanos, Miller. And I ride the thing. It's like, holy shit, the thing was stiff. It was gnarly, right? And I'm coming off a 250, barely riding any four-stroke stuff, and I'm like, again, the same type of thing. Get over the top of the hill and pin it to see what this thing's got.
Yeah.
So, I don't know what I did, 27s or 28s or something like that. I don't know if it was fast enough to make the program, right? But I didn't really hear nothing back, and maybe it was something where it was like, some talk between my dad and those. I don't know all the details, but great. Fast forward to get invited out to ride the 750 for Vezra, and it's like, okay, cool, just meet your lap time target. I don't think it was 27s or something at the time, which I don't think is very fast. I mean, it's not very fast, but 26, 27, around that place at that time, at endurance pace was fine because I think the leaders were doing 24s or 23s. And so the really fast guys were doing 24s and 23s on whatever the top teams were. So then the sweet guys or the other teammates, okay, we just had to meet this target. So I just met my target, kept the lead, and being pretty young and pretty inexperienced with that thing, it was like, oh, perfect, I'm good to go. So did that, we won the race, and it was cool. I mean, attack hole, the radiator, if I remember, the Corona guys screwed up, which is what they did. They always screwed up, but a few other guys didn't, and then we made it happen. So that kick-started my spot onto the 2001 team because I didn't screw up, and we're coming out of that thing, and then Vezra was sponsoring my sprint racing stuff in the MA championship. And so that season I hauled around Team Hammer Advanced Riding School bikes to get gas money. Drove my dad's old Dodge pickup, borrowed a trailer from Mark Young, and packed it full of Team Hammer's Advanced Riding School street bikes to haul around to the schools. and set sail, man. That was a fun year, honestly. Of racing, of all the years I went racing ever, it was like a massive pain in the ass. But you know, it was me and my mechanic, this guy named Billy Weiss, who's since he passed away actually last year. And
Looking back on it, Chris, like
it was
looking back
fun.
on it though, compared to what you've got now on your plate, was it really a pain in the ass?
No, dude, I used to show up at the shop too, at the race shop. Now that I live in Alabama, I manage our race shop. So it's the same shop we've had for 30 something years. And I used to show up. I'd ship all my stuff in there, right? I'd show up and get my bike. I'd weed the thing. Like I went to Loudon, and I weeded the thing twice at Loudon. And then like in the race the second time. So I packed that thing up in the trailer and left. I don't know, show up a couple of days before the next race, put the thing back together, throw it in the trailer, and go to the next place I had to go. And it was like, yeah, it was all right. I controlled, you know, I think the thing I liked the most about it in racing, and I didn't have that in racing after that, was I kind of controlled my own destiny in the grand scheme of things. You know, I just went race to race, rode the endurance bike, you know, did as many FUSA races as I could, did some Suzuki Cup races. You know,
I do remember you winning that 750 race at Laguna.
oh yeah, I did. I won that too. That was cool. I won the GSXR 1000 Suzuki Cup race that year too. So dude, I could never launch the damn thing. So like in the 750 races, I'd end up like 87th or something off the line, and then have to work my way through wherever. You know, I don't know. I probably should have gone to the drag strip or something and got better starts. I remember like Road America that year was like my coming out of like I've arrived, because I ended up, so it was stupid. I don't even think I had the thing in gear when the light went off, and oh, fuck, I gotta go. And you know, then I just got my rhythm, and all of a sudden I'm on the back of Ben and Jimmy Moore, and I'm like, oh dude, I'm leading, and I'm leading. I'm like, fuck, what am I doing? And I ended up third because I'm a dumbass and I weaved at the line and Ben got me. And it's like, just would have went straight, Chris, and you would have got second. Anyway, my first four-stroke podium, and first time I led a four-stroke national, so that was pretty cool. But then, yeah, the starts got me. I had a pretty ripping race at Brainerd too, and I screwed that up by flattening both my tires on the last lap. That was good. Jumping that at Brainerd, they used to have this left that went out, or this, no, excuse me, left, right, under the bridge. So
Yeah.
they eliminated the bridge. So they used to go on the bridge, but there's a curb, and the thing always had a pothole. And so whoop, pothole, both rims. It's like, oh, dude. Anyway.
So when did you, you got the endurance stuff, you started doing the nationals,
Yeah.
and you basically did the national thing full time
Yeah.
all the way till like 16, right?
Yeah, more or less.
Mostly on
yes.
Suzuki's, except for that small stint
On Hondas.
on the Hondas, right?
Yeah, so like I earned a spot on my dad's team for 02. And, you know, that was what it was. I won one race. 2000, hurt my shoulder right before it. I was at a press launch, weeded this 954.
I was going to talk about the journalist GP or whatever you used to call it when you were young
Yeah.
and dumb.
Yeah, I'm
That
still
was kind of dumb, right? Like looking back
Yeah,
on
it
it.
was dumb. It was this big pissing match. It's not quite the pissing match it used to be though. Like everyone, like it's mellowed out quite a bit. Actually, it's not really a pissing match anymore.
Yeah.
But man, it used to just be a pissing match. It used to be, you better show up. This time in a lot of times it was the Brits versus the Yanks too. So like we're over in Autopolis in Japan for the ZX6R launch, and they got Guy Martin and a few other guys, and Dave Sonsky. I was going pretty good. I mean, I was like racing all the time, so obviously I should go good, right? If you're racing all the time, racing the AMA level, you're a top 10 guy, you should be going pretty quick. And he rolls over and grabs a clipboard and then shows, hey man, this is what our guy did. What's your guy got? And guy went out there and got within a second and a half and put the thing in the weeds.
Right.
So that ended the GP that day.
Right.
But yeah, it used to be a pretty big pissing match, but now it's pretty mellow, man. We're all old. I mean, plus like the guys, the real gnarly guys are gone. I mean, all the guys are competent now, and they're good, and they go pretty darn quick, and they're professional, and they understand the bikes, all that, to call it. But the
Like, what's the consequences for the journalists if you guys weed one?
I don't know. I got the exhaust pipe and got made fun of. Oh, I'm missing half my collarbone because of that, so that was a pretty big consequence. So,
So, like, the magazine's not responsible to cover it or anything?
I don't think we've ever gotten a bill for breaking a bike in half. I will tell you, like, knock on wood, that was the one and only time I've ever crashed a magazine bike. And I'd try my darndest not to after that, dude. It was, like, so embarrassing. It was like, fucking, dude. I just signed a pro contract, just got, done with a big training camp at Rich Oliver's. Okay, my old man needed me to do, one more before we're out, and then I fucking tank slap the pads back, and then get cocky and try to make the corner, and then end up on my head. It's like, really, dude? I'm supposed to go testing at Fontana in a week.
Yeah.
So, that was.
I remember you beat yourself up pretty good on that shoulder injury.
It's like that thing that actually is it was pretty bad, and I've had a few operations on the thing, but that led to the collarbone dying off, to the surgery, to the collarbone dying off, to the collarbone getting taken out, so I mean, it's like
Good times.
this side missing
Frequent
that much
flyer
of it.
with Dr. Brian?
No, that was Dr. Ting.
Oh, okay. The other.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
So,
That's
it's
some good stuff there, buddy.
pretty dumb.
It's interesting
whatever.
that
It's part of the journey.
the magazine thing, like, you're able to write for the magazine still, like you're still doing that and race. You're managing the team now, but
Yep.
you were doing that magazine guy thing the whole time you raced too. Like, how do you transition from the mindset, like from racer?
My first. I don't know. I've been doing my column, so like column on the back page of Roadracing World's been going on. Journalism stuff started when I was 15 because I'm in high school and I'm going to the G&F to race the sportsman races on Masahiro Iizuka's 125, and he's like, "Look, you can go do this, but you got to write a story about it."
Yeah.
All right, I'm in. All right, I'll figure it out. So go down there, write the story, and then you kind of hatch the idea of, hey man, you want to do a column because I want a different viewpoint for the magazine. And so yeah, sure. I mean, dude, some of my early stuff was, I look back on it, like I basically have spent, so from the time I was 16 so now I'm 43 years old, I've written a column every month for the magazine, and except for two, and that was September 21 and September 2003.
No
So
shit.
2003, it was like, dude, it was just too repetitive because I was just crashing shit and having a crappy year. In 2001, I had COVID, so it was, too hurt or too sick. So
Yeah.
you can go back and read that stuff, but it's like you can see my life. It's a chronicle. I guess I could get them all out and frame them or something. I don't know.
I mean, like I said, I remember you were pretty hard on yourself after that shoulder one. I mean, you were in your column, you were pretty tough on yourself. You're like, man, I'm an idiot. I shouldn't have done that. Basically, Cliff.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer, and you got to own it if you screw it up.
Yeah.
So if I'm screwing it up, and get called on it. That's cool too, But
So you've gotten the opportunity to go all over the world to ride motorcycles. What's your favorite place that you've gone overseas to test?
Oh, dude.
You've tested a lot of shit if you got to wait that long.
I don't know, I've been going to Jerez a lot lately. I like that place. It's fun. I'm going to, so like, I don't want to spoil it. It's going to come out, but I'm testing the Bagger Kings Indian in a couple weeks, and then going to do the Triumph thing at the end of the month over in Spain. But the Bagger King thing's at Chuck Love. Like, look, gnarliest experience was '04 at Brno when I tested the WCM, and they put me out on the Monday morning tests with all the maniacs from the GP.
Okay.
That was pretty, like, holy shit. You know,
Yeah.
I was like, okay, you got 15 laps, dude. Get this done as quick as you can because we're kind of skating this in under Oda's radar, and you know,
And
get
don't
ran
wreck
over.
the goddamn bike.
Yeah, don't wreck the bike and don't get run over by Loris Capirossi. So that was gnarly, but I mean, look, they trusted me enough to do it, right?
Right.
So,
Yeah.
and I wasn't. I mean, there was another dude named Matsudo, Naoki Matsudo. He tested the bike the same day, and he raced a GP the day before, and I was the same speed as him, so I didn't do a shit job. But it was,
Right.
it was just, dude. It was one of those holy crap because that was at Brno. The, you know, like I don't know, Portimao's overrated.
Portimao is overrated.
Yeah, I
It
like.
looked like fun. I don't know. Like
It's overrated, dude. It's
Yeah?
overrated.
Okay.
Yes. In
Noted.
my opinion, it might. Hey, look, you might ride it and have a different opinion than me, but for me,
Phillip
I do like
Island.
S-
You did that one.
oh yes, yes. Willow Springs, buddy.
Yeah.
Willow Springs in Australia. It's
Okay.
badass.
Okay.
Absolutely, you get to ride that place. Turn one.
All right.
Turn one is not for the faint of heart. Awesome, fucking awesome. Like, Stoner's awesome. It's all awesome. Very
Yeah.
good. I like Eastern Creek too. So
Yeah.
that
Sydney
was,
Motorsport Park now.
Yeah,
they call it,
yeah,
right?
Sydney Motorsports Park. Yeah, Eastern Creek was cool. It was Australia. Sepang's pretty badass.
So you don't have a favorite.
No, like man, like I've had the honor and the privilege to ride all these racetracks, and I don't, don't want to ruin the Portimao love, but everything else has been awesome. Actually, I do like Mazzano going the other way. I don't like the new Mazzano that much. It's not as, it's like if you've ridden the old Mazzano, better than the new Mazzano. Although that corner where they go, that whatever out, that takes some serious
Yeah.
briggery. But definitely like the flow of the old Mazzano. I mean, I've been to Monza too. That place is sketchy, but that's pretty gnarly.
And how about
there's a difference. Like there's the U.S. tracks versus European tracks and some of these other international tracks, and like
yeah.
there's tracks where you can get a rhythm going, like a real nice rhythm, and it's just like boom, 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 like Jerez is like that. I just went to Almeria for that S1000 launch, and I hadn't been to Almeria for a long time, but it was like that. So a lot of those European tracks that you can just like, okay, we're flowing. You can do the flow like at Barber, kind of get the flow going at Willow. Pre-chicane at Road America, but like all these other places, just kind of like, man, what were they thinking? So, yeah, I like the flow of most of the European tracks. I mean, like I didn't get too many laps. I've been to Magello. I didn't get too many laps there. That was a deal in 06 when I got to ride Haga Superbike and Cap Curtains R6, and that was like, hey, dude, you get 10 laps. Don't screw this up and learn the track. And,
Wow.
It was like, okay, cool. But man, dude, that front straightaway at Magello was, whew, yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Made
you
the
should
hair
go
on the
there
back of
too.
your neck stand up.
Yeah,
Ooh.
it's just thinking about it. I mean, dude, it's been over what, 06 was how long ago, and I'm still like, yeah, it's good.
Yeah. That's awesome.
So
That's
anyway,
awesome.
yeah,
So how about the U.S. though? I mean, you've raced everywhere. Like,
yeah.
do you have like a favorite on the circuit?
Um,
And just so you know, like I'm just checking because like I've talked to multiple people on this show, and they've all said Road America. And some are really
the
excited about it.
pre-chicane.
Oh, okay. Because they're
I
really
like-
excited about it because of the new pavement there.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be good. I like Road America. Like the last section from Canada Corner up. I guess it's the Billy Mitchell Bend now because they took the bridge out in the last corner. You can flow pretty well there. You can flow up through Hurry Downs and all that stuff. And so, yeah, I like that stuff. It's just like the bummer part about that is that you used to come out and this is all for the sake of safety. So
Yeah.
I'm a big safety guy, 100%, get it. But man, you used to come out of the carousel and click fifth. Like on a 750 Super Sport bike, it was like fifth, breathe the throttle, and then go back to flat, through that section. And if you got it right, man, it was like I set pole there last year. They had that configuration for the 750 race. And it was, man, that was one of my like 125, 250 or flat through there, just tucked in, just balls to the wall. And like, I don't know, I grew up at Willow, right? And so
Yeah.
anytime
just
it
gonna
was
say that.
fast, it was like, yes. And so, yeah, I like that, but they did a good enough job, I guess, with the chicane, but it is what it is. And of course, you know, everything being perfect, they could have filled in that ravine back there and then gave us enough runoff. But the road's not perfect, and so you gotta deal with what you got. But I'm pumped they're invested in the track and they repaved it. So we'll see. I think there's going to be some blistered tires and some fast lap times.
Yeah. Lap records are gonna fall, huh?
They keep falling anyway. The way Gagne's riding, dude, they're going to keep falling.
Yeah. Well, I mean, looks like Bovier's back too, right? So.
Yep.
And you
We'll
got
see
a
how it
guy.
goes.
You got a
I got
you
a
got
guy.
a bullet in the chamber.
Yeah. We can
Right?
get to that. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get to that. All right, dude. So let me pause just for a second because I've got a whole bunch of comments here, and I'm gonna get lost in it if I just let it go. There's a couple people. Daniela talking about her 2-up ride at Laguna with
Yeah.
you. Let's see. With Suzuki pulling out of GP, are you guys how are you guys continuing with what's the deal with Suzuki? There's a few Suzuki questions what's it like being the Superbike effort for Suzuki in the U.S. I'm just gonna shotgun blast with you and I'll let you pick it up.
We can go. We can go the Suzuki thing first because
Yeah,
there's a lot of
let's do the Suzuki
misconceptions
thing.
about that.
Let's talk about that.
There's a ton of misconceptions about that kind of thing, right? Yeah, they pulled out of MotoGP.
Yeah.
Okay, great. They're saving themselves. I don't know what the KTM guy said. You need 70 million to be at the front. So I don't know what their budget was, but I'm going to guess that it was somewhere around there.
That-ish.
So and they're going to make EVs and all that stuff. I think I just saw a report they're going to have 8 EV bikes. So look, they're going to do what they're going to do to sustain their company. That's Suzuki Japan.
Right.
So Suzuki US is racing, and you see that with HEP racing on the Supercross side, and you see that with my family's racing team, Team Hammer Inc. in the US. So yeah, they're racing, and their US Suzuki is supporting racing. Is it at the same budgetary level as it was, a few years ago? No. But the good thing for Team Hammer Inc., my family's racing organization, is that from day one when the team was created, we had to go find the money. So,
Right.
in the 80s it was Chevron. And then, we got our first Suzuki deal in 86. So Chevron, and then it was Valvoline. And then when Valvoline, ended their 10-year relationship with us, then it was M4 Performance Exhaust, and then it was Geico, and then it was Monster, and then it was pick the company, right? Now it's
Right.
Vision Wheel, M4, X-Star, and Suzuki.
Yeah.
So it's and on top of that we do a lot of stuff, like from bike sales to program sales to sponsorship sales.
Yeah.
And so once you get done with all that effort and what you do, right, then you have a pot of money and you go racing. But you gotta have these days you gotta have a diverse revenue stream, and in terms of that stuff, and it pays to have that, because when the bean counters show up and slash your budget, that means you continue racing instead of packing it in,
Yeah.
which is what happened to our predecessors.
So, here's a comment. Multi-bad base. He always comments on this, and he says he's read some articles about Suzuki stopping production of the GSX-R 1000. Is that true? And do you know when that's going to happen? If it happens, or
I don't know. It depends. Are they in Europe or in the U.S.? Because they're not sending the thing to Europe because of Euro 5. So
yeah,
I don't know. Look, Yoshimura CERT, right, or CERT Yoshimura, however that is. So Yoshimura Japan,
Yeah.
not Yoshimura USA, R&D in the U.S. Yoshimura Japan and Suzuki Endurance Racing Team in the Europe are contesting the Endurance World Championship on a factory bike.
right.
So that program still exists with their funding and their sponsorship. So I don't You know, it's obviously going around. I'm not, you know, I don't know that part, right? They're not selling the 750 like the, you know, the next gen 750 project. So there's
Yeah.
going to be two of them, one or two of them on the BSB grid. But
Okay.
you know, they can't import the damn bike to England because they don't sell a thing. So there's some challenges there on that. But you know, yeah, they're still racing. They're still producing motorcycles. They're still alive. You know, they're still pumping. I mean, dude, look at hell. Look what Roxon's done for that RMZ 450. It's like, oh,
The
the
old
bike's a
one?
pile of shit. No, it's not. Just interchange the rider.
Right.
You know, the thing's pretty solid. You know,
Yeah.
it just you know, man, the racers are a fickle bunch. But
Yeah.
anyway,
Well,
consumers
yeah.
are too. But look, there's still we have support. You know, we have ample support. If we weren't doing, if we didn't have that, we wouldn't be doing it. And you know, our technically on the technical side, our situation has actually improved. So, you know,
Right on. Right
yeah.
on. All right. Well, let's let's talk a little bit about that. You know what? I'm gonna hold the 750 thing because I want to talk about your finding time to be a fucking talent scout too. Like you're,
Dude, you
uh,
just gotta pay attention.
yeah. Like how do you, you know, your team somehow always finds these young kids to just come
Yep.
out and murder everybody. Like you know, how,
Yep.
and you've been consistently doing that forever. So
So, like, look, you know, my dad's a former racer.
yeah,
So, like, when he saw Schwantz, so you know, we had a pretty big hand in Schwantz getting over to Yoshimura to and help that, right?
yeah,
And well, my father did. I didn't know. I was 4 years old.
right,
So, like, he's riding around an endurance race and comes up on this crazy kid on the FJ600, and you know, feet fall off the pegs and hauling ass, and he was a lot harder to lap than all the rest of the guys, and he kind of started paying attention to him, and then all of a sudden, it's like shit, you know. So, it's kind of he's always had a good eye, and
yeah,
you know, I wouldn't say I don't think like look, I'm not old enough to I'm not you know I didn't see him race at that level when he was racing big bikes, or I raced against him on a 125 when he came back to race, but you know, I don't think he was the most talented guy, but he was pretty damn solid and methodical and thoughtful about things and had a good approach. And so when you're when you're not a talent, which I'm flat out, I'm not a talent. Like I'm a worker. I will work. You know, I work. I worked at it. I worked at racing my entire life. I wanted to do it so bad. I worked at it. You develop a skill set that's a little bit different, right? And you can kind of see things and see mechanics. You know, like yeah. So it's just you kind of I can see it. I can see what they're doing on the motorcycle. I can see what their attitude is. You know, like, you can see the stuff that's going on. Like from the first day, like I showed up to race a YSR 50 at Amago or something. Amago my first race? No, Adams. But anyway, Hopkins was already there hauling ass. You know, and dude, he had it. You can see it from the get go right then and there. It wasn't just some you know weird. You know how some kids come in and like they haul ass when they're really young, and then they get to the pros and they kind of peter out.
yeah. Like when one big crash, and then they were like, "Well,
Yeah,
that's it."
yeah, okay, I'm out. This hurts.
Yeah,
No, it was like, dude, he had it. He had the balance. Same thing. You could watch like Bobier when he came over here. We came back in 2011. Spent a fair amount of time on the couch because I broke my back that year. So I'm looking at that and I'm watching Road America. And I'm going, just looking at what the way he's moving on the bike and what he's doing. I'm like,
yeah.
yep. Kid's a
I had
badass.
the pleasure of having Cam Bobier at my track day. His dad brought him out. I want to say it was like a 250 two-stroke, I think, and it's his first big bike track day apparently. And all of a sudden, third session of the day, everybody was like, "Who the fuck is that little kid on the yellow?"
Yeah. So
Benny Solis too, you know.
Solis was good. You know, not like I don't know, man. He was good, all right. And like, I mean, hell, I know Ben. It was Ben Senior for I used to race 50s against Ben Senior. Him
Yeah.
and Rolando. He's like the. Yeah,
Hey,
I
pork
can't,
chop.
I can't,
That's what he
I
goes.
can't. I can't say that joke anymore. They call themselves, I guess. But they you, you know it.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Of course I do.
well, knowing them, knowing those two. I mean, I know Rolando got hurt, but you know,
Yeah.
but Ben, man, he was brave, dude. Ben was brave. Anyway, Benny got to a level and then kind of, you know, couldn't take the next step. And some guys do that, but I mean, he was still fast, really, really fast, but he just couldn't make the next deal, and then whatever petered out. Or you know, a lot of the guys too get sucked into this European dream, which is cool. But you know, you look at the guys that had to. We're gonna get in the weeds again. You look at the guys that did the European dream. Let's say we went Red Bull rookies, right? And then won the Red Bull rookies, and probably should have been placed on a proper team, but then got spit back to the U.S. like JD, Gagne.
Right.
You know, they lived the dream. They chased that. Like Sean Dillon Kelly was the same kind of deal, right? He went over there to the Red Bull Rookies Cup, did 3-year project, and then actually Peter Clifford told him to call us when he was done. You know, he was already on our radar though. We were, you know, you can, you know, if you pay attention, right? So he's over there in Red Bull Rookies. So he wins that KTM thing in whatever year, and it's like, okay, this is also the magazine thing kind of comes into play because I get all these stinking emails in my inbox, and I'm like, oh, what's going on here? Looking at results and looking at the website, right? Okay. Like, oh, that kid was hauling ass. Okay, you know. So, you know, and you just put your radar out, right? You just, it's okay. I'm paying attention to mini racing right now, and I'm paying attention to everything, right? And you can see who's doing what, how quickly they're getting to the front. You know, there's a couple things that are going on here, and yeah, you just got to kind of know what you're looking at.
I just wonder how you find the time with all the rest of the shit that you do to continue scouting.
Yeah.
But it seems like it's like, oh, well, it's just right there because the magazine helps with that.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that helps with the information coming in. I pay attention to roadracingworld.com all the time. I'm living in it, you know, proofreading the magazine, doing it's everything. So you kind of puts them on the radar, and then you go, okay, let's see. Even before that, though, if you go to a race and you're watching races, and I pay attention to the other races that are going on, you know, I pay attention to other races that are going on. So whether it's Twins or Junior Cup, and see who's winning what, and how the gap is, you know, where they're at, and how their operation is, and knowing what their equipment. So on the domestic side, that's what's going on. But I'm also, you look at the, you know, North Americans are doing what over in Europe right now, in Spain, and paying attention to what those guys are doing, because obviously from the magazine standpoint we want to promote that, but on top of that it's like, okay, how's this, you know, rooting for the home team, whether they're Canadian or they're American. So it's yeah, you gotta pay attention. You can't have blinders on, and that's how you're gonna do it. And you know, look, everybody, in the grand scheme of things, like everybody, I get people like, oh, you know, you're lucky I told you about that guy. It's like, dude, bullshit. You don't know what you're talking about. So it was, I trust my gut on that thing. There's a lot of guys that think they know what they're looking at, which they might know a couple of aspects on that, but it's like, yeah, I saw this, and this. It was like, oh man, I'm not sure about that, you know. But the real ones, you just talk about the Hopkins or the Spees or Ty Scott or Sean Dillon Kelly and all that stuff. It's like, even Sam Lockoff. Sam Lockoff's an extremely talented kid. He's very, very good, you know.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. Like, I saw that you made an announcement, and there's a different rider. Or is Sam Lockoff still part of the team, or?
That's up to Sam Lockoff to figure out.
Okay.
No. That's a bad way to put that. Damn it. No, I mean, look, our lineup's solidified, right? So Sam wants to do what Sam wants to do with his life, and that's up to Sam. So, you know, very, very talented motorcycle racer. You know, love working with him. Love working with his dad. Led him to his first, you know, gave him the platform to get to his first race. So he has to figure out what he wants to do with, in general, in the grand scheme of everything.
Yeah.
And then, you know, he wants to come ride for the team. That's cool too. So
There you go.
yeah, like, but very, very, he's talented. You know, he's got some, a bit raw. He came to racing very late, so he was, but you could see the way he moves on the bike and the way he operates, right? But he doesn't have a good education because he came so late, and his family isn't from motorcycling.
Right.
But he has like the baseline feel, the touch. Tyler's a little bit different. He's comes from racing. He's freaking intense.
Yeah, he
you
ruined
know?
everybody when he was on that KTM 390.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
But intense, man. Like, go shake that kid's hand sometime, dude.
Oh, dude,
That's-
I've been in the
oh.
pits. He comes up, like, all those kids come
Yeah.
over to talk to Jake Gagne all the time, right?
Yeah,
So, you know, it was impressive to me listening to that kid because he was so switched on.
yeah. He's
And
on.
he was really motivated to take it to the number
Yeah.
2 bike. I'll
Yes.
just put it that way.
We had lots of discussions about this. Yeah, so, but I mean, motivated, and I think in his second year, with 1 year under the belt, we made some changes with his program, and you know, we made some changes. Bike's a little bit better, so we'll see.
And the other super sport guy, I think I remember him on an SV, like
Yeah.
a couple of years ago.
He's
And
the
I
last
think
guy to
he was
win a. He's the last guy to win a Twins Cup race on SV.
Yeah,
I
and
think.
he was a
Yeah.
Robum guy last year, I think.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. Yep.
So
Teague
seems like
Hobbs,
a good
so-
fit. You've been
No,
watching
good
that
fit.
guy already.
Yeah, his people came to me, and we know him. You know, a lot of those guys from the NMRA, and so his I guess his people. But you know, he's got this core group of supporters as far as that goes. And
Yeah.
came to me and wanted to, you know, in terms of the program, right, and the way my approach to management and the approach to working with young guys, you know, and the personalities match up pretty well. So I think we can do something pretty well with him. You know, his twins, so his Twins Cup success, right, came on a Team Hammer built SV650.
Right.
And so delivered the bike in 2020, and this is a thing that happens with bikes to get delivered, and especially with teams that don't necessarily have the experience, right? So they get the bike, and then they have some dude that wants to change the planet, right? Like, no, we do this. Like, well, hey, look,
Yeah.
Tomas won on that bike last year. Rocco's winning on it right now. How about we just try it the way it is?
Read the
and see how it
directions.
goes. Read the directions, okay? And then get back to me, right?
Right.
And when they would read the directions, straight to the front. When they didn't work out as well. So it's,
Yeah.
you know, it's like, look, man, I'm not talking because I like to hear my sound of my own voice. So,
Right. Right. I mean, look, you know, your super sport program is a threat every year. Like
Yeah.
it has been for years. Doesn't matter who the fuck you have riding it.
No, dude, like, look,
That
that
team-
thing's been our fucking bread and butter. Like,
Oh,
like
100%.
flat out. Like, this is funny because everyone runs their mouth about this, but so you go like back to we always had to race the support classes, kind of like Richard did, you know,
Yeah.
in Stamboli too, right? Because they had the factory team, then they had us.
Yeah.
and the other support teams. So you go back to like the 750 Super Sport stuff, you know, we're racing plenty of guys, but we were also racing 600 Super Sport, clattering with the front runners on Michelin's at the time.
Yeah. And then
Um,
Pirelli's, right?
And then we did it on Pirellis too. We won
Yeah.
Super Stock 1000 races, beat the factory guys, you know, blah blah. So in that type of racing, dude, I'll take the Pepsi Challenge, go toe to toe any day of the week.
Yeah.
And so we go to 08, and dude, maybe it was 07, I don't know, but we're whooping the shit out of all the Yosh guys on their 600s, and they quit
Yeah.
the class, you know. And it was like they answered to the boss answered to the other guy, and he's like, well, why can't we do this? So because we can't cheat. It's like, dude, we got torn down more than anybody because of the last name.
Right.
So we didn't get DQ'd for shit.
Yeah.
You know. Anyway, they won more Superbike championships. I can't talk too much shit, but you know, in that
I
category,
mean,
they were
look,
good.
you know, you're. I used to say this. I was like, dude, I don't know how the hell you guys do it, but like your Suzuki 600s were
Yeah.
faster than anybody's 600s in the world in
Yeah,
the Suzuki.
they are. I'd
And
go to
I
Europe
don't
and
know,
people would ask me.
I don't
that.
know what kind of barbecue sauce Keith Perry's throwing on those things.
It's Witt's barbecue, buddy.
Oh,
Actually,
is
there's
that right?
Big Bob Gibson's. Big Bob Gibson's the caterer. So I guess there's a big. I, don't know, I learned this when I moved here. There's a big rivalry between those two. Whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, we don't have any good Mexican food here though.
No.
It's shit, man.
Barbecue
it's
is
horrible.
legit,
Barbecue's barbecue's legit.
Clearly.
But, yeah. Anyway, no, because we lived it. We lived it every day, and we tried
Yeah.
everything, and even up until 2019, like between 2018 and 2019. 17 to 18, the rules changed, right? So we went back to the spec that we had been using to win, won 11 and 12 championships using that kind of spec with different gas. So, and we figured a couple things with the fuel. We're actually running. We do a few things for Daytona that to help the bike live, and came back and went, man, you know what? Let's try the spec with spec fuel. And we're like, oh, found something. So, like from 18 to 19, and the thing was a fucking missile. They took our cams at the first race. They thought we were using. It's pretty interesting because they thought we were using some other model year cams, so they confiscated cams. The cam doctor them, and we came back and they were illegal. I mean, we got torn. We were in tech 19 times in 2019.
Yeesh.
Dude, when we transitioned from talk about text 08 to 09, right? So we go from having Pirellis and before the Pirelli guys really figured everything out, right? And we're coming, but the longevity, Pirelli. And so we go 08 to 09, and we got Martin Cardenas riding for us, who's another ripper, right? That's another guy that we found. And the way we found Martin was, I'm racing him, and he's on a clapped out ZX10, and I'm watching him going, oh my God, he's going to kill himself. And I'd actually raced him in 04 too, on some 600 stuff. And it was like, dude, we got to get that guy, because he wasn't doing nothing. And who got hurt? Barney got hurt. Anyway, we found an opportunity to put him on a bike, and then he ended up riding for us from 07 till 2012 before he signed up for Yosh. So anyway, 08 to 09, 08, we won one 600 Super Sport race with Blake Young.
Yeah.
And that was, we could lead them, we could beat everybody except for one guy, right? Whether it was hacking on the Cowies or Roger or you name it, right? And 09 comes around, and Martin runs 7 or 8 races. Like they go from Pirelli, like the Pirelli deal was a pretty good deal for us because they were paying us, and we got bonuses, and we got 900. It was like the swing on that thing when we went spec tire was a couple hundred, 300K, right? So it was pretty gnarly. But on the plus side, dude, Martin won, I want to say 8 races. I mean, it's 09, so I have to go look it up, but a lot of races. And that year, when it went from, all of a sudden that M4 Suzuki's sitting in there winning everything, it was like they took our wheels and they measured the holes in the wheels to make sure we didn't lighten them. They took third gear one time. They took the head. They took some bullshit. And it was, at some point it was like, Ludington was running tech, and it was like, come on, dude. Really?
They sent you
measuring
guys
the
home in a
holes
crate every month, every round.
Yeah, fuck it, right? And then they finally gave up, because they couldn't find anything legal. So, but just the thought of that, I don't know, maybe it was just the thought of us winning, or just the surprise of now, we're ultra competitive, whereas before we were just podium guys, ultra competitive winning.
Right.
And the I mean, Eslick won on that Buell that year, and Eslick wasn't the guy that was rated before that year, and everyone pissed and moaned about that Buell, but hell, I rode that thing. It was nothing to chime home about.
Right.
And then Eslick won the thing in 2011, and then Cardenas won it in 2012. So obviously we're doing something, right?
Right.
And then we switched to Honda, so that was another one of those.
It was a short-lived stint on Honda, right?
Yeah, it was business. We had the Geico deal going. It was kind of a good fit between the Geico, because they were Supercross and us, but also Suzuki had its own problems. So they were filing bankruptcy. We kept waiting. We had to make some decisions. We kept waiting and waiting and waiting for that. Hey man, where's our contract? Hey, what's going on? We got to do something, and we signed it. It's like, okay, ain't calling us back. We're going racing on Hondas. So then that thing had an auto renew for 15, and we blew past all the dates because no one was paying attention. So we found that I got an opportunity to go back to Suzuki.
Right on. Right
So,
on. So, okay,
yeah.
so that's the Super Sport team. What's going on with the Superbike program?
Oh,
I mean, being
well,
real,
we
like
got Tony.
you guys kind of came out swinging in 20. You had Fonger and
Yeah.
Tony, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Tony was kind of up and down that year. Fonger was really strong when he was
Yeah.
upright. Um,
Yes.
You know,
When he wasn't. He was. It was either really good or really bad.
yeah. So,
But look, he was good. He was brave. He was hungry. No problem. So, yeah, 20 was good. Learned some things. Went faster than the guys that had the bikes before. 21 too. Also was not so bad. I think that the Planet didn't expect Jake Gagne to pull his thumb out.
Yeah.
I mean, flat out. I think even Fonger started the season pretty strong. He got hurt though.
Yeah.
Got a little bit banged up.
He had
Cam
that hand
was
thing,
more,
right?
yeah, he had the hand thing and all that. Cam was more steady, right? And by the time the end of the year, I mean, Cam won at Barber. Was on pole with a 23.7 or 6. I mean, he hauled ass at Barber at
Yeah.
the end of the year. And so, actually, and then we went testing. We had every intention to because there was some weirdness, I think, with going on with the TAC too, whether one bike or two bike or whatever. But we were late. We were late getting a very, very key deal done on that particular deal, and that allowed the Yamaha guys to sort Cam out. So I was like, okay, great. So who are we gonna get?
Yeah.
We had a pretty long list. In hindsight's always 20/20, right? We probably should have kept Fong on that one. We'd signed Escalante to go Super Sport Racing, and we had another couple guys that we lined up to do that. Actually, one being Wyman. And the big problem was the King of the Baggers thing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, look, dude, the King of the Baggers deal is people are getting paid over there very, very good money.
Yeah.
It's, dude, you got to make a
Stupid
living.
money. Like
Yeah,
out here.
stupid money.
Yeah.
So, look, we signed, did a contract with Richie to race Super Sport, to pay Richie to race Super Sport, and we kind of looked around and went, fuck it, we're gonna put him on a super bike.
Yeah.
And then the next guy was Jake, and
You guys had worked with
Yeah.
Jake before.
yeah,
Right?
yeah, he was my guy. He was my pick, actually. Like me and my old man kind of had our. It's an interesting dynamic, right? It's like, okay, you have your guy, I have my guy. Okay, cool. All right, and then I think he still rubbed it in my face about that this year. Actually, he is. We
Okay.
talked about some stuff the other day, and he still rubbed it in my face.
Fair enough.
Hey, dude, it's true. Yes. So, and look, it's kind of the same program. So, Cam Peterson didn't have a ride for 20, right?
Yeah.
And I happened to sit behind Robbie Peterson at the Supercross, and
Yep.
I mean, it's Robbie Peterson, dude.
Yeah. Cam told me the whole thing. I podcasted him
Yeah.
after he signed the deal, and it was like, oh man.
Yeah,
So-
yeah. So I sat behind him, sat behind Robbie, and of course, started talking to Robbie because dude, he used to race 500s in the U.S. when I was 10 years old, walking around. I got a seat signed by him and Rich,
Yeah.
250 and 500 seat. So it's like, this guy's one of my, he's a colleague, right? But he's,
Yeah.
lots of respect in terms of the racing planet, right? Nice guy.
Yeah.
And so, we're all talking and talking to Van, and we're talking about stuff. Hey man, what's Cam doing? And he's like nothing. I'm like, oh. And I've been talking to George at Altus, and he'd been telling me his list of guys, and I was like, I mean, we supply technical support and motorcycles and engines to those guys, to Altus, and so it's a de facto farm team, and I was like, his list, I didn't want to work with any of the guys he had on his list. I was just
Yeah.
kind of like, I don't know about that guy. No. Hey, this guy's available. I called George, sitting behind Robbie, and handed the phone number over to him, and then the rest was history. And then, of course, he did a very good job, and we took him to us, and then it worked out. Look, I'm pumped for Cam. He's making a living
Pretty-
racing motorcycles.
pretty
He's
stoked
hauling
to
ass.
see him win
He's-
that Barber.
Yeah, dude. Like, you can't not be. I know the struggles of the family. I know the struggles of Cam. Super
Yeah.
pumped. Like, you know, the big thing I think a lot of people don't understand about me and my old man, like, we we're racers at heart, and so at the end of the day, you know, if one of our boys goes off, yeah, great, we missed that opportunity, but he's off having success and earning 11 racing motorcycles, and that's it's
Right.
very, very difficult to do in the U.S. and it's very difficult to do in Europe, and so awesome. I'm pumped for him. And so anyway, you know, so that that happened, right? So we signed him for 2021, did a pretty good job, got him up to speed by the end of the year. And then obviously that opened the door over there, and we were too late to get the deal done. No problem. Okay, so what's left? So we kind of look at the same program as that happened. So Jake did a very similar performance, lap time wise, results wise, you know, everything. Once, I mean, they had some mechanic issues in which they clipped all the idiots and got a good guy over there. They, you know, his results improved dramatically. And so anyway, we put him on the bike, and you know, so that was great, right? You know, whoever sits on that bike this year, if they do a good job, overall, this will be strongly considered for something next year. You know, you got to look at it, right?
It's got to drive George crazy. Like every time he gets a good dude, you come in and take him.
He knows the deal.
Yeah, he does. I'm sure he does.
No, but you know, we help him quite a bit.
So with your superbikes, are you like
yeah, it didn't work out basically. Yeah.
With the superbikes, are you like, are you building a lot of this stuff in house? Like, what do you like? Are you sourcing the swing arms and stuff?
Oh God, the swing arm thing's a pain in the ass.
Is it really?
Yeah, look, there's some options. You know, we made our own.
Right?
We made our own, right? With Nick.
Silly.
When we started the project, I contracted Nick, and me and him went about. Man, I've learned a lot of stuff about swing arm design, by the way.
All
Yeah,
right.
it's pretty fun. And then kind of went after the suitor part. A lot of that stuff was in the first year was driven by Tony and the way he wanted the linkage design and the way he wanted the linkage and all that stuff. And that linkage system's a bit different, but was a bit new for us at the time, which I understand. I understand what the advantages of are, but especially within the way it builds pressure back quickly and all that stuff. And so, you know, kind of went down that rabbit hole, and yeah, I think the suitor's pretty darn good, right? And, you know, you got different opinions from different guys within the program, but generally the construction of it and the information we can get for it's pretty good. So we got that option, and then we got another one that's a little bit easier over the bumps that we manufactured. I think we got 3 different stiffnesses on that one, all made out of 6,000 series. So the suitor's 7,000 series. I don't know. Thought about trying to figure out how to get that stuff that Stamboli makes his shit out of and do one, but I don't really want to do that. I'd rather 6,000 is easier to work with.
Right.
But yeah, I don't want to be making stuff out of 2,000 series. Anyway, it is what it is. You know, like, look, I think we've made some improvements to the swing arm. We've made some improvements to the bike. Yeah, we you know, everything. The engine spec is built by us, right? And all that. The electronics are you know, systems that we inherited, and
Morelli, right?
yeah,
You guys running the latest builds on that stuff?
I don't think so. I mean, inside yes, but the outside no.
Okay.
So
Okay. Well, I got a couple of Stamboli questions for you.
fuck. I don't want
You
to-
knew it was coming, dude. You know, like,
I knew he was fucking coming.
come on, man. You asked, like,
You know, it's fun. It's fun. I like watching when he's on because a big ass picture of me is behind him, behind his head on
Right.
his GP bike.
right. Yeah, I mean, it's so he's got 2 questions, actually. So he says, you know, Tony Elias podiumed on the R1 first time out on the thing, right?
Yeah.
So with your program the way it's been for a minute, what are you guys going to do differently with your bikes to put Tony and Richie in a place where they can be competitive against like what seems to be shaping up as a super competitive series this year? We got Cambobier coming back, and obviously PJ Jacobson's looking good.
Hungry.
Westby is always right there. Cam P is,
another hungry guy.
Yeah.
So Schultze's a hungry. So look, we're looking at the engine. So we got a new engine spec we're gonna work on. Obviously we got some upgrades to the inside of the ECU. And those got rolled out at Button Willow. And generally we're looking at swing arm stuff and trying to make sure he doesn't get too far outside the window, which I think Richard understands that.
That's the next question on that.
We know about that.
Yeah, like basically he says Tony has very specific demands. He wants it firm, no pitch. Do you have a plan?
How do you create grip though? You add pitch. Yeah. So I guess basically what you're saying is you have a plan to address those specific demands that he has? Yeah. Well, how do you approach that? Look, bud. Very carefully.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I saw what was going on with Tony in the other truck, right? And
look, he's very particular, but look, when he's on, he's on.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's capable of winning, dude. Like,
I think the situation for Tony's different now too. So I'm looking forward to another swing at it with him, and it's interesting, right? Man, the whole way that thing kind of came down, right? It's kind of like it's an interesting thing. So it's.
I think you and I described it the other day as weird.
It was weird.
Yeah.
Different than most. So, like, we had a list of Superbike guys, okay, and there is one very high at the top of my list. His name happened to be, Bobby, but I think he was working Alpine Stars at the time, and I don't think he'd go racing. Okay, so great, whatever. Talked a little bit about some stuff, but might have been some bagger things going on too. That the bagger thing just preclude. I can't do it. Right, I can't. Okay, great. So we started talking to Barbara, and that went sour pretty quick. And then we're kind of standing around going, "Fuck, what do we do?" It's like, hey, let's roll the dice on a young guy. Talked to a few young guys, and this is a ride that we pay them money. We give them money. It's not like you pay us money. It's like, hey, bud, money will come into your bank account every month. You have a bonus program. You can earn a living racing this bike. Talked to two young guys, and the response from their individuals was pretty fucking mind-blowing. Because at my age, if someone offered me a Superbike, it would have been like, when will the contract be in my email?
Right.
But
now they're all
like,
picky?
I have to go talk and I have to do this.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, I'm not naming it. It was two different ones. I'm not naming names. Then
no, name names.
No, I'm not. I'm not doing it.
I'm gonna get a text message from your dad right now if you do. You probably will get a. You'll probably
I'll just say one rode for Shivey last year. But anyway,
okay.
It was just interesting. Okay, and so okay, screw it. Okay, great. We'll do something else. And this is a third young guy, and we talked to his agent, and it was like, yeah, let's go. Okay, and we're like, okay, good. I go to the shop. Between the time I go to the shop and I'm supposed to write the contract, I get a phone call from Suzuki, and they're like, hey, Tony called the VP. You guys interested? Do you have anybody signed? No, we don't have anybody signed. Okay, great. Talk to my dad, and we talk about this, talk over, and it's like, look, they asked us to do this. We have to do this. We have to consider this option. One thing led to another, and then contract was issued and was signed.
Nice.
So it was pretty interesting because, look, man, we all know he's a badass.
Yeah.
He's an absolute badass. So if he's turned on, if he's switched on, and we can give him what he wants, it's going to be great. So, and it's our job to sort it out.
And also, Tony's coming back. I mean, I got a couple of people commenting similar things. I'll give the last guy the credit for it, but Brian Green, he's like, maybe Tony could be somewhat of a mentor to Richie, get him up to pace too, right? Or no?
Yeah, I mean, Richie's going pretty good. His race, by the end of the year, last year, right, we knew that was going to be a tough task, dude, because you throw the guy in, he's never raced anything but a 600. And you look at the gap from the start of the year to the front to the gap at the end of the year to the front. I mean, hell, race 1 before he pitched that thing away at Barber, he was right there with PJ and catching Petrucci. So that was good. In the second race, he picked the wrong tire, but, it is what it is. So I'd say for a rookie year, that's pretty solid performance, and that earns you your spot for the second year.
Right on.
And you just look at the progression. And you give them another off season to figure out how to train, because there's a big thing a lot of people don't understand about Superbike stuff, right? There's like fit and there's Superbike fit, and obviously read some of the reports about Petrucci going and race that GP bike. He's like, I'm Superbike fit, but I'm not MotoGP fit. So there's another level beyond Superbike fit. Man, there's a big wide. You get the last 3-4 laps in a Superbike race, and your eyes are, you're hanging on for dear life. If you're not really prepared. So having a season to understand that, and then go back into the gym and recognize, change your training program so you can get to that point. That's going to help. Understanding the bike a little bit better, and being more assertive with his crew and being more assertive with everything is going to help.
Yeah.
And I'm understanding too, sometimes Superbikes are big stiff bikes, right? So you gotta be at or near, top pace, right? Or else the thing's gonna feel like shit.
Yep.
So that's something you gotta learn. You can't just come back in and change the bike or just sit there for a minute and go pull your thumb out of your ass and go ride the bike. So there's all things that make the first year, the second year, a little bit easier. But I mean, look, the guys are super competitive this year. It ain't something that I don't, I got eyes. I pay attention. Obviously, we can see that, and it ain't. It's been giving me more gray hair, but I've been pushing the boys, and we'll see how it goes.
Right on. Are you guys gonna do any of that? Like, let me rephrase that. Like, how are you? What are your thoughts on how the rules are now in Superbike? I mean, it seems like they're steering the bus closer and closer to World Superbike, obviously, except their tires. But are you gonna throw some of that neutral lockout thing on the?
Oh, they don't make one. They don't make one for my bike. They have to drill through webbing or go through somewhere else to screw that. But yeah, we've looked at ratios. I have options. Obviously, Nova's got an option for a transmission. That one looks pretty good. The other stuff I got that those guys use over in Endurance Championship looks okay. Just it's a you just got to put it in the bike and see what works.
Right.
Look that roll so if I go the Nova transmission route, right? So those things are 2,800 pounds a piece. The current exchange rate, that's roughly $3,500. It's 35 times 8. 28 grand.
Yeah. Ish.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, just fucking light 28 grand on fire for bullshit we didn't need. But anyway.
Yeah.
I digress.
Yeah. Okay. That's.
I mean, look, it's a lot. Look, as far as I've heard some comments on that thing too. It's really easy for some guys that walk down to the bank of whoever is funding their program whether it's an individual or whatever, that maybe in 5 years will be bored with it, or 2 years, or 1 year, or whatever, to go, oh, yeah, no problem, right? Yeah, all right, cool. Well, dude, fun of your program's out of the paddock in 3 years, and I'm still here. So like at one point, cost containment's gonna have to become a reality. Especially the way the OEM business continues in the U.S., and especially the attitude towards road racing. But it is what it is. The group voted on it. I accept the group's vote. We'll move on down the road. But, it is what it is. It's just money, right? Shit grows on trees.
It's racing, right? I mean,
being sarcastic, but
I know.
Fuck it.
Yeah, it's fine.
But
be
look,
real.
It is, but like flat out, it's we didn't need it. Is he gonna? Well,
I think it's.
And look, I don't have to do it, okay? But really, I have to do it because we're going racing. Okay? Well, yeah, dude, you don't have to do it. Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. I don't have to do it, but I'm doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's, look, that's one way. Like I said, you go back to the start of this whole conversation. Earn OEM support, sell sponsorship, diverse revenue stream, go racing. So this isn't something that's coming out of the bank of JU, because there ain't no bank of JU. It's called earn the results, earn the sponsorship, earn the support, go racing. It's not coming from Trig Westby. It's not coming from Michael Kyler. It's not coming from the guys over at Ducati New York.
It's not coming from a what was it? Crown Royal money.
Oh, right. Those clowns. You mean Clown Royal? Are we gonna go down that thing too?
I mean, you can if you want to. I was just.
Hey, that's a circumstance of hiring amateurs to run your racing program.
All right, fair enough.
Hey, dude.
I mean,
where are those guys at?
I mean, look, I predicted those guys were gonna be in and out, like you said, be bored in 3 years and try something else.
They had their tinfoil hats on the whole way out the door, dude. It was fun. That deal.
I mean,
you want to name
Porto America?
Yeah, you want to name the team? You want me to?
Porto America?
Yeah, M4 America.
Yeah.
Yeah, victims, always victims.
Yeah.
He's too busy bailing his sister out of jail after that
Eesh.
sex cult problem. Anyway.
Wow.
What?
I saw that. I saw the link on Google for that. So yeah, that's real. Yeah,
that's real.
But like you said, it was like somebody comes in with a bunch of money, they get bored and bail in 3 years.
Yeah, for sure.
Knew who you were talking about. I think.
Maybe not.
Right.
Hey, they thought they were going to win the championship that year, and they ran into two problems: Team Hammer and Bobby Fong.
Yeah.
Like, look, dude, I already knew it.
And PJ too, man.
And PJ too. So, this is funny. I tried to hire PJ that year. He turned me down to go do that other thing. So anyway, we start to see. So I'm looking at it, right, and I'm like, I see that whole thing. I see it laid down. So JD's going dirt track racing, and then going. Good thing that Estison showed up and sorted that out for Richard and those guys, because I think that led to Richard and the sorting out the factory program. So that was a good deal. But anyway, Estison comes in, wants JD to do dirt track, then they do the Superbike thing. So cool, they put that together. So, because originally I thought I was gonna have to race JD and Hayden on that team. So I'm like, man, dude, Hayden's a bruiser, right? I'm like, man, he's good. He's very talented, but he's a bruiser. Okay, I need someone that's gnarly enough to go toe to toe with this dude. So. Yeah, and so I'm like, who can I get that's the gnarliest coupe we got, right? And
Scrapper is what that dude is.
Yeah, Scrapper. And so I'm kind of looking around, so I'm like, I want a dirt tracker. Okay, great. So I call PJ, and obviously, it didn't work out. And Bobby's been talking to JU and over and over, and it's like, okay, yeah, let's get him. And the first race of the season, they go down the front straightaway, bashing on each other, and I'm like, and Bobby wins the race, and I'm like, all right, good, sorted that out, and it kind of went, just kind of, it was an up and down for sure, and those guys were tough, but when you're racing teams like that, right, that think they can spin the planet and don't hire the right guys, you get to the dog days of the season, and you start really turning the screws up, and just kind of, they don't like it. So,
yeah.
But look,
And now they're gone.
yeah.
So,
I mean, the good thing, a couple of those guys that come in, the Tyler's guys, they hired some very, very good guys to manage that program, so that was really smart. So I think that'll help keep him around. I don't know the longevity of the Ducati guys. I hope they stay around. I mean, I hope everyone stays around. But
it's nice having more competitive teams in the paddock.
Yeah.
I mean, those guys came on strong at the end of last season. Brand new bikes at the beginning of the season. They got their bikes super late, and what they were able to do was pretty impressive. So now that they got
there's some intelligent guys over there. Yeah,
right?
It'll be interesting for sure.
It's weird. I don't know if I've seen them make an official announcement yet. I don't understand what's going on there, but
I don't know.
yeah. You got your own shit to worry about.
I got my own shit to worry about.
Yeah.
They can announce their program whenever they want to.
So let's talk about the super sport rules a little bit. You're kind of like the head 750 dude in charge over there. Like right? Tell me a little bit about how that happened and what's going on with that thing.
The inception of that, right? So I going back to the magazine, this press release comes flying into the inbox, and I read this thing about next gen 750 rules being rolled out at the BSB and being experimented, and they're going to mix all these different bikes: MV, Augusta, 800, Triumph 765. I think 636 was on that. R6. I mean, that all stuff, like Yamaha Europe sets the spec, and so like the horsepower spec, all that stuff is all, it's kind of some politics there, but Ducati V2, blah blah blah. So I'm like, dude, I gotta race all that crap. I want a 750 because it's like, even with cams, like we homologated the cam too for the 600. So even with cams, right, we can get this close to the peak that a next gen bike's coming out, but we can't make the torque.
Right.
And like the thing is on the limit. Like the valve train with that cam in it is a 500-mile valve train. So that's 300 miles.
That gets expensive.
So that's like a 2-weekend, maybe a 2-race head, right? And then maybe you got the bottom end for another 2 races. So if you're looking at a program like mine, that's 3 engines every 2 races. On those 600 engines, OEM parts budget and all that other stuff, but still, dude, like at the end of the day, it's like, we're talking, damn, my math here, was that 9 rounds, 2 engines there, it's a lot of engines.
I'm sure you have a spreadsheet somewhere.
I could have a spreadsheet, yeah. So, anyway, so like, great, so I gotta be doing 3 engines every 2 races, right? So it's, okay, or we can go after the 750 thing. And so it kind of started like, so I call it like, I don't know, December 2020, and I'm thinking about it and going, okay, great. So I start the conversation, kind of look into it, got the 3D printed ECU so I can figure out what to mount the thing, and then it kind of picked up pace like near the end. We started talking to Moto America. We had a meeting with them at Laguna, and started picking up pace, and then Suzuki was involved in all the meetings too, and it kind of just, I don't know, it snowballed, right? Because then they basically it said, hey, look, do you need what did it for me, right? The factory agreed to homologate the bike globally. What they had a question before that happened, which was, hey, do we have to do anything with the ride-by-wire? And we said, oh no, we got that figured out. I mean, we got we got a source for that. We're going to do that. And I was already pretty deep into
Yeah.
working with the supplier that we were going to do that with, because I mean it's the same guy that built the Superbike system for my 2014, the ride-by-wire system for my 2014 Honda and then my 2015 Suzuki and my 16 Suzuki. So those bikes we converted to ride-by-wire through aftermarket blipper and all that stuff, using Morelli SRT. So it was out there. We had to do it differently, but it was out there. So I just figured, okay, great, let's do that. Okay, so we had the first prototype of the throttle body done by the end of November. But the problem is the engine didn't ship to Italy until mid-December or something for balancing. So basically, we had to go through. We got the bikes, did that. So we kind of opened the engine up and had to kind of declare like, hey, this is where the engine is going to kind of be. And they gave us a target horsepower, and everybody paying attention, right? That this was like the European target for horsepower and the U.S. target, like it's a solid 10 off. There's a bullshit factor of 10 horsepower in Europe. I don't know why that is. It's like my R6 makes 140 horsepower. Bullshit, it does.
Their dynos run downhill up there.
Yeah, they must. They're running light. Running light. I don't know. But anyway, I got a 140 horsepower R6. No, you don't, dude. My championship winning GSR 600 from 19 and 21 made 122 horsepower. So
yeah.
Anyway,
Right.
On my dyno, your dyno might be.
Results may vary on the dyno. Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. I mean,
So you're the guy,
So yeah, I'm the guy. So we got the design done, and I'm the global supplier for the ride-by-wire throttles.
Okay.
It's a pretty cool system. We mount the thing up. We just actually did a bunch of upgrades to it. Learning development process, like this thing. In the perfect world, right? This would have been like built in the start of 21 and just ridden on a racetrack somewhere, like the entire year.
Right.
But why do that when you can do this? Just due to time frames and all that stuff, getting everything approved, right? It was boom, 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 and from concept to approval to on a racetrack and racing. September to April.
Wow.
So, the good thing is, look, you can run a standard engine. Like, you don't have to open the engine at all.
Okay.
No big deal. You can take a standard engine, like Luke Power standard engine, Altus standard engine, Carl Solstice standard engine. The rules don't allow you to modify the engine anyway, right? But
right.
Any good race mechanic takes their stuff apart and puts it back together anyway. So look, we got the design, the ride-by-wire. We take out the top plate, we mount this little motor there. We had to actually they changed the end calibration, so they have a new calibration for the throttle plate, the mechanical part of the throttle plate. So like they can figure out if someone's messed with the linkages to open the throttle more or whatever. So they had to change we had to change some stuff to. No one was doing that stuff, but it was they changed the protocol for that coming into 23, which is like if the thing goes anywhere past whatever, hard stop, shuts your ECU down.
Yeah.
So it was like, okay, we got they recommended a hard throttle stop on full open, and we had to do some stuff like that. We had to add an inductor. Take some excess voltage out, change the PID. We did a few different developments over the winter on that, so those are all actually throttle bodies are coming back in and getting distributed to customers now. So, but yeah, developed the wire-by-wire system, had the wire loom design. So if you want that system right, you have to come to Team Hammer Inc. and purchase the system, purchase the throttle bodies. We also sell a wire loom that's currently 3 times the cost of what the Solo should be, because we have to manufacture them in small batch. But once Solo engineering catches back up and there's more of these things on the grid, I expect them to actually make a wire loom, so then the cost will come down. That'll be
It'll be like a kit. It'll be like a kit harness.
Yeah,
right?
It'll be like a little
Couple
kit,
grand.
maybe not even a couple grand, like €1,000. I think the Ducati one's at 800 or 1,000 euros or something like that.
I'm saying like
So it's
2,500
12.
ECU and harness, right? Like maybe
ECU is 1950. The dash is 900. So I mean, look, if you look at an EM Pro, right? An
yeah.
EM Pro is 1,600 or 1,800 bucks. The harness is $800. So I don't know what a Yamaha costs. So yeah, it should be somewhere around that, right? But unfortunately, the big cost on the 750 is the wire limb and the throttle bodies, because the throttle body modification is 2,150.
Okay.
You know, and I lowered the price came down this year because we have more people purchasing them, and I was able to chop $600 off those things. So,
Nice.
globally on the deal.
I mean, it seems like that bike could be like
Yeah,
a pretty significant bike to have in that particular
pretty
class.
solid.
The torque
Yeah.
alone, right? I mean, that's where I
Yeah.
was thinking.
Yeah, like I said, the thing doesn't make any more power than a 600, but it has a few foot-pounds more of torque. And there's a lot of complaints about that thing, right? It's funny, at the end of the year, Heron was pissing him on about that thing all year. And they hauled him into the truck and showed him the dyno graph layover between the 750 and the Ducati, and the things are dead nuts on.
Yeah.
You know, and I you know, I did the homologation on the thing, sent the engine. You know, I just sent in the last part of the process was getting the new DIS, the distribution file sent. So we just sorted that out, sent
Yeah.
it back to the Europe. We got a new distribution file. It's going to get distributed to all these guys that have these bikes. And so, you know, I got a good understanding of what's going on. But I mean, the way that thing works, right, is so they send the engines over to this chassis, or this engine dyno guy, right, and he gets all the engines, and they torque mapped all of them. For my case, since we were doing this thing, you know, super quick, I had them do the reverse torque so we could build the maps that way, you know, because the back torque stuff, like doing that stuff's hard.
Yeah.
And it was already on the dyno, so it was like, hey, sort this out too, please. So, you know, I think the report was the thing made close to what the Triumph made. So, you
Yeah.
know, we're all in the ballpark. Perfect. So we picked the engine spec perfect. We did everything they wanted us to do. Easy peasy, right? You know,
Yeah.
if the thing gets the World Super Sport spec and they need a little bit more power out of it, which I don't think they will, you know, there's down the road, there's always the option to put a head gasket in it or something like that. But basically, you can take a standard engine and go racing, buy the throttle bodies. You know, like I said, the wire limb's a bit expensive right now, but you know, hopefully by 24 or something, we have a wire limb. We'll see one of those bikes. You know, when Gilbert just announced his program today, and he's got Owens on a 22 from us.
Right.
We're building a brand new 23 for Gilbert right now. Another one of his guys got a 22. Solstice has got a 22. Then you got Disrupt guys are on a 7. But I don't have anything to do with those guys, but those guys are having that same 750 from last year. So,
They got the throttle body thing from you.
yeah, they got the throttle bodies.
So, like, say a club racer guy that
Oh,
wants
you
to go
got 9 or
national.
10 guys. Yeah.
Say a club racer dude has a 750, wants to go nationals, but he can't unless he's got your ride-by-wire thing, right? So
No, can't line up. Yeah, that's the next gen system.
yeah. So what's ballpark of that? Like I'm like Joe Blow club racer dude, and I'm gonna grid my 750 up in the national, but I need your stuff. So like, what's the ballpark on that for the mod?
It's 2150 for the mod. You know,
All
I
in,
get your, I
ECU,
get your
everything,
throttle.
dash?
No. Like, I don't sell the dash. I don't sell the ECU. Like, you gotta go to Gold Motorsports
okay.
for that. I have nothing that, like, yeah. If they had options for us to become dealers, right? And then
Right.
you know, we make $100 or whatever the shitty margin might be on that ECU.
Right.
Then yeah, for sure I'd sell the ECU. But no, if a customer comes to me and goes, I want the whole kit, it's like, well, we can sell you a throttle
Whole
body,
bike.
which you absolutely need, right? And we have a wire limb that's for sale that you can purchase, which will, we also have another kit that you can purchase with the tone rings, sensor mounts, because the thing needs wheel speeds, so you need aftermarket wheel speeds put on it,
Okay.
front and rear, and for the engine brake strategies to work, and then, you know, I don't know, so all in, I think we've been doing a lot of math on this thing, Dustin. Probably should break up the calculator.
I'm
About 10
surprised you
grand.
didn't have your spreadsheet to share the screen.
Oh no, I hate that spreadsheet. Yeah, I think you're looking 10 grand once you buy the ECUs. I mean, there's a dash cover. I mean, the ECU's 900, or the dash is $900, so you should probably buy a dash cover for it. So
Yeah,
Yes.
definitely buy a dash cover if you have an
a dash
aftermarket
cover
dash.
is less expensive than the dash.
Yes.
Dash cover, you know.
Highly recommend dash covers.
so
I mean,
dash
you know,
covers are good.
do you guys do? I mean, I learned a little bit. I have an I2M dash on my R1, and
Yeah. You smash it yet?
oh, 100%. I had to send it to Italy, and it was like expensive
Dude,
to fix. And I have a
Fonder-
cover on it now.
Yeah. Well, we had a cover. We had this really nice cover, right? And
Yeah.
this is how awesome Bobby is. Fonger crashed one of those things, I think in turn 5, I don't know, somewhere in New Jersey, right? And he managed to get the thing upside down and break it so gnarly that there was a chunk of the fairing stay that pierced through the
Through the cover.
plexiglass on the front of the cover, all the way through the through all the way down to the, like, dude, it was like proper, like the thing went up, and it was the best dash destruction I've seen.
Well, one of the things also I learned this from Richard, but basically on the back of the harness that plugs into the ECU,
Yeah.
mine
You
got
need that.
damaged, not from, like, physically it looked fine, but because the
Inside.
harness yanked from the back of the
Mhm.
dash, it took part of the motherboard with it. So
Yeah.
I was recommended by Richard to cut the lock pins off the connector, so if it pulled, it would just pull away. So you guys doing shit like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's
yeah.
the point of destroying shit?
I mean, you know, like, it's
Yeah,
only
look,
money,
you-
right?
You're cool. Yeah, it's only money, right?
Oh my god. Yeah.
You
All
got
right.
a tree out. You got a tree out back, huh? It's a palm.
Yeah, one of those. Yeah, no. I'm a broke ass dude. Like, I'm a scumbag over here, club racing. But yeah, like, that stuff is a lot of people are wanting to know about that 750 stuff, and the reality is, like, you know, the mythical $10,000 race bike are long gone.
No, it's bullshit.
Yeah.
No, like the build sheet on a 750 is like 40 to 45K, depending if you know, depending on the bike cost, right? Cause
Right.
I don't know what MSRP on the thing is 12 or 13K.
Right.
You know, I should know that too. But
Yeah, like, all in, you're looking probably 40 grand plus.
yeah, by the
Easy.
time you do that, and so, look, in terms of the cost of electronics on that thing, so you have the cost of electronics, and that's what you have, and that's a cost that's amortized, that can be amortized across 2 to 3 seasons if you're
Yeah.
not a crasher, if you take good care of the wire loom, you know, and the wire looms has to be a little bit lower spec in terms of the connectors, so you can use all OEM connectors, so it's, you know, you can OEM style connectors. You can't be using Autosports on it. I mean, the thing would be 6 or 7 grand if you're using Autosport connectors on it. But
Right.
OEM connectors, they're super easy to unpin and fix, and they're readily available at you know, whatever place you buy your connectors from. There's 3 or 4 different sources in the U.S. that are pretty solid and reliable. So that's fine. So you can get all that stuff and amortize that across 2 to 3 seasons if you're going to stay on the platform and do that many seasons.
Yeah.
The big thing is, like, it takes the cost of the engine out of the equation, because you don't have to crack the engine, because you can't. Like, you're not,
Right.
you know, the engine spec's the engine spec. You gotta, dude, it's like stock cam timing. Like, here you go. Here's the engine. Like we had an engine that we stuck in Liam Grant's bike last year that ran. We didn't open, and it ran from VIR all the way through Daytona CCS, race champion CCS, and the thing made the most horsepower of any damn bike we had. Worked fine, and we only took it apart because, well, we
You
have
need
to take
to.
it apart. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I mean, it's end of the year and you should rebuild all your stuff. So you know the engine was fine when we were done with it. So you can either spend the money on the 750 electronics, okay, or you can go buy 3 R6 engines to do the season, or maybe 4, depending on what the
Right.
spec is and what the mileage is allowed. Because you know you go back to what we were talking about in the GSR 600, that was going to be 3 engines every 2 weekends.
Yeah.
So for a guy that doesn't have people in a shop building engines all the time, and a guy that doesn't have a parts allotment and doesn't have all this other stuff, right? You know, you got to pay retail for that. That ends up being, I don't
Expensive.
know, what's retail on an engine?
A lot.
Let's just say you rolled into Stamboli's place and it's like, hey man, Joseph, buy me an engine or build me an engine. Joseph talked to you. Where's he? Yeah, why isn't he talking shit right now?
Yosef talks to me all the time. He never looks at YouTube and all that shit. Like he's not an internet guy.
No,
His internet is him posting pictures of him riding his stupid KTM.
doing wheelies.
Yeah, everywhere. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right,
He's probably due for a new T-shirt by now.
oh, I'm sure. Yeah, he probably wants a Road Racing World T-shirt. I'm guessing.
Annual.
Yeah, of course. All right, so you know what, man? Like we're running long, so I'm just gonna give you the last. I'll give you 10 minutes, and let's talk about you being a safety guy. You know, and you were instrumental in helping me with the CRA last year with the Laguna thing for the Air Fence
Yeah.
Fund. So let's talk about the Road Race World Action Fund.
So, yeah, I mean, well, how deep? I guess we got 10 minutes.
I mean,
Can't
I'm
go too
really
deep.
good at setting up Air Fence now. So
Yeah, it's
you need
good,
a
huh?
guy.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, so the foundation was started. I mean, that was all 2001, and that was basically my, you know, in typical John Ulrich style. AMA Pro told them, hey, you know, we can't get enough air fence. We won't have air fence by this time, and he just went, all right, you're an idiot. Hold my beer. And we had started a grassroots fundraiser. He put his own money up to buy the first section. The next thing you know, we had OEMs, individuals, and a bunch of people buying these sections, and we deployed the first sections at Road Atlanta for the AMA National. And you want to talk about karma? The first guy to go into that stuff was Grant Lopez, who was racing on a Valvoline Emgo Suzuki FX bike, and instead of dying or getting, you know, severely injured, he dislocated his shoulder and raced later that weekend. So proof there, right? And
Yeah.
since that, we incorporated in a 501c3 nonprofit, and we raised over $2 million so far, and we've raised enough money. Like, so the Action Fund owns all the air fence that's used at the Moto America races, and we've been able to upgrade that fleet to Alpina. So for professional guys, you get the self-inflating Alpina, and then we've been able to take other fleets of inflatable or dog boxes and distribute them to other organizations like ASRA, CCS had some.
Right.
Other racetracks around the country have some dedicated to them. Like, we've turned Blackhawk Farms from being a place where you're going to crash and be hurt very, very badly to not. So a lot of good grassroots stuff has come out of that, right? So we did the initial push, we got everything rolling, and it was dedicated at the professional level by the time we got it big enough, right? You look at Fontana, like, I'm sure Fontana ran for the last weekend, but all that air fence was from the Action Fund and fundraisers that I did with a 2-seater, and then
Yeah.
you know, David Piles matched funds or mod, you know, so we covered that place, right? And so you just take that model, you go take it to VIR with PRE, you take it to Midwest Track Days, you take it to N2. I mean, those guys do their chili cook-off and race. So you know, you do your own fundraiser. We supply the air fence. You know, you donate the money, we supply the air fence, assign it to your organization, and it becomes like a big group and a big community. I mean, they had a big N2 endurance race last year, and one of the walls they were a little bit concerned about, you know, Moto America truck happened to be there, so we offloaded some air fence and had it set up. So that air fence thing, man, it's you just look at it, right? And you look at Wyman's crash from Barber, you look at other crashes from club racers, and you know, and there's some dedicated stuff in New Jersey. There's a lot of it around the country, and
Yeah.
it's something that, you know, it goes back to my dad's experience in the 80s, where a small mistake would make to have massive consequences. There's no reason why a small mistake should have massive consequences if we can avoid it.
Right.
And so, we just did it. And now instead of safety being like, oh, okay, you're just being a pussy, you're a whiner. Now it's demanded. And then we have grassroots organizations and track day organizations sorting it out and help, doing stuff for their own club to keep their customers safe. And so we've through that we've changed the outlook, we've changed the way everyone looks and the mindset on safety. Now it's demanded.
Yeah.
So we're not going to stop there. I mean, we're keep working at it. I think there's going to be some expansion, of the scope of the mission of the program, but at the heart, it's going to be air fence,
Nice.
and supplying air fence and keeping people safe. Like,
Donate
you
to
go,
that shit.
yeah,
Like,
go
donate
back.
to that shit. It
Yeah.
saves our lives.
Yeah.
We're doing this
it's-
crap out there. Like, you smash into that thing, you're gonna be like, high five.
Dude, have you ever hit that stuff?
No, man, but I
Oh,
jumped up and down
it's
on
awesome.
it. when
No,
I was
it's
setting it up.
so we started in '01, and it took me until 2014 to hit some, because we'll go back to the New Jersey we were talking before we got online, talking about my crash in turn 8, and then
Yeah.
the week before that nice crash where I took the foot peg in the nether regions. I crashed in New Jersey in the last corner going Mach 10 in a Superbike race, and I missed the air fence by like this much. And early in the weekend, I talked to Dave McGrath, who was the I don't know what he was at the time, at AMA Pro, and I said, hey man, you should put some air fence at the end of that thing. And in typical McGrath, okay, all right.
Yeah.
And
Famous last words, right?
Yep. And then I go ankle first into that thing, and my ankles still click, So it's like, okay, then after the race, I'm like, hey man, can you put the air fence out now that I hit the wall? Thanks, bro. We had plenty in the truck because we supplied it to you. But anyway,
Yeah.
got my opinions about that guy.
Well, he's
the,
gone now, right? Like he's
yep.
not. Yeah. So fuck that.
Yeah.
So you do a lot of fundraising for this
Yep.
with the 2UP program, or you did until Fontana's gone now. But
No, I still do it. So,
Oh, you do? Okay.
Like Fontana, so, in '05, remember, you remember my buddy Vincent Haskovic, right? So
Vinny, yeah.
Vincent, he got paralyzed at Sonoma, right?
Yep.
So I'm not 100% sure if he hit a wall or the bike hit him or he hit the air fence, right? So I
Yeah.
think he didn't have air fence. Anyway, it was a shit situation. I mean, hell, we were living in the same town with my training partner, and
Yeah.
he's riding for my dad's team. So we spent a lot of time. I was rehabbing my shoulder while he was in the hospital up in NorCal. So I spent a lot of time hanging out with him when he was in ICU. Anyway, Vince gets hurt, right? And, massive, he got health insurance, but still got big ass medical bills. So I'm kind of sitting around Thanksgiving weekend's coming up. I'm going to go to Fontana and ride around. I got the 2-seater, and I'm like, dude, I'm going to give rides to raise money for Vince, and I'm going to donate the other part to the Action Fund. First year was kind of slow. I mean, it was basically my family members and a few other people once they kind of figured out what was going on. Poorly promoted because it was, just super last minute.
Yeah.
So it started, then '06, Piles let me do it again. And it, looked at how much work we did on the thing, and it was like, oh wow, okay, we got to support this. '07, '08, like, damn, he's doing work, I think the peak of the thing was 2012, maybe. I don't know, we did 400 miles or 494 miles or something on the bike. So yeah, we raised plenty of money. Like I said, we raised enough to cover Fontana, and then we raised enough to start putting in the general fund to disperse everywhere else. And then obviously when I moved to Alabama, I mean, COVID kind of killed it in 20, and then when I moved to Alabama, that the cost of it, of actually doing it, since the 2-seater's out here, would have killed that off. But at the same time, when I stopped racing in 2016, it took over the Moto America had been after us. They've been using us pretty heavily for 2-seaters at the races for pre-race promotions, and they were kind of after a VIP program. I mean, they were after they were after a VIP program. So the start of 2016, hired Michael Martin in to do the VIP program while I was still racing because I didn't have the bandwidth to do that. And then I stopped it after Atlanta, and took that over, and so it started. Okay, we're going to sell a ticket, and we're going to, you know, this is how much the ticket's going to cost, and then we're going to raise this much money. You know, we're going to donate this much money. So now you can roll into a Moto America race, buy a $500 ticket. They take, I think, $160 off the ticket, and then donate the rest to the action fund. So at the end of the year, I don't know what we raised, 20 grand or something, you know, at the end of the season, right?
Nice.
And you get a bunch of fans that have good fun time and enjoy it. And then, you know, a byproduct of that is guys like damn it, Les from Medallia go for a ride on the thing, and you know, then ends up seeing, you know, has the experience on a two-seater, enjoys that, sends his employees out there, but also sees what the foundation's all about, understands it, and makes a donation, you know, a big donation of $100,000 to the action fund. That I mean, that goes a long way to upgrading the
Buy a lot of
fleet for
airfits for 100 grand.
yeah, for the Moto America stuff. So, but that, you know, at the end of the day, though, that 100K doesn't just benefit Moto America racers, right? Because it benefits club racers, because the stuff that we upgrade, every time we upgrade at a Moto America race, the stuff that we replace goes to, we got a fleet over in AMA headquarters in Ohio,
Wow.
and a fleet of a few other places that then gets distributed, dispersed, and used if we need additional.
Dude, that's why I called
like
you.
the stuff for your deployment came out of Ohio.
Yeah,
You
it
know,
sure did.
so
And,
so it
you know,
benefits everybody.
when I knew we were going to Laguna, I was like, hey, bro,
Yeah.
like, how do I get my hands on some airfits? And you're like,
Yep.
oh, talk to my dad.
Yeah, I know a guy. He's got to handle that. I got too much on my plate.
Yeah.
Enough bandwidth, but yeah,
Yeah.
you know, I think personally I'm responsible.
You helped me with where to put it, for sure.
Yeah, I'm good at the deployment part. Like you want to talk about where people are probably going to end up crashing, I can tell you.
Yeah.
From personal experience, and then also, you know, I have eyes. So, anyway, yeah. So I ended up very good, but it's I
That's
think
awesome,
I'm
man.
personally responsible for maybe 250 grand. You know, through direct donations from two-seater stuff, but then also people that done two-seaters that decided to go and make big donations. But you know, so,
Yeah, I mean, I love that you guys used to do it quite often. Actually, you would post all the photos and stuff of like the dudes in the air fence, and they're good. You know?
yeah, we need to sort that out. We need to get a few more going.
Yeah.
Get back up on that. But yeah, man, it's all something that we've done, and it's not something that we didn't start the thing. You know, it was basically a holy crusade. It was,
Yeah.
We're gonna make things safer for everybody, and this now we've gotten it big enough that it benefits the entire community, and that's something. I mean, you know, it's 100%. My dad started it. You know, I'm just a mechanism to make, you know, just one of the people that's out there pushing it and trying to make the money and help my fellow racers. Because like I hit the stuff. It took me. We started it in '01. It took me all the way until 2014 to hit it, and I hit it turn one at Barber going pretty fast, and I hit it face first, and I got up, raced the next day.
Yeah.
So I mean, if that wasn't there, and the trajectory that I hit it at, right, chest and face, it probably would have been pretty catastrophic for me.
Yeah, I would imagine so, man. I would imagine so.
Yeah.
A lot of racers owe you guys a lot for that.
Our pleasure.
You know.
You know.
And I appreciate
You know,
it too. I mean, you know, just being a guy that's involved in a race series myself, you know, the CRA, man, like we were super appreciative of you guys.
Yeah,
doing
think
that
about the
stuff.
level up on that, man. And plus, like your customers and you know, racers. We're all, at the end of the day, like we want to go racing and we want to beat each other and whip the shit out of each other. And I mean,
Yeah.
granted, there's people I like and don't like in the paddock or whatever, but we're all this one big dysfunctional family in this niche industry that's doing stuff. So we might as well take care of each other.
So I'm gonna let you say where to go, and I'll put a link to it in the
Yep.
description of the video later. But where would somebody go to donate to the Action Fund,
It's
Chris?
roadracingworld.com / or roadracingworld.com / action fund.
There you go.
So the real name of it is the Road Racing World Action Fund.
Yes.
That's It's a 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to motorcycle safety through the demonstration of airbags.
Like I said, I'll put a link to that in the
Yep.
description in case anybody wants to donate to that. If you're club racing, if you're racing anywhere, like you should be donating to that anyway.
Yeah.
Just because I know I used to do those Daytona parties, right? We'd raise like thousands of dollars.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, it's,
You know?
but everything helps, man. I mean, the first
Yeah.
guy you know that hits that stuff, like, the biggest, go watch Wyman's crash, you know, when he lost his brakes going terminal at Barber. Dude, that would have been catastrophic.
Oh, for sure, man, for sure.
But it's, you know,
Well, Chris, you know what, man? It's been a good chat.
Yep.
Fun talking to you, man. You're not the boring jerk face everybody said you are. No, I'm just kidding.
I got a good RBF, dude. Hey, look, I go to the racetrack to work, so sometimes you get serious when you work. But
Right.
anyway,
Right.
it's good. Thanks for having me. I
Yeah, man.
appreciate it. And
Are you guys gonna test
been
next
fun.
week, or are you guys?
No, I think we're looking at well, it's 21, 22 for February, right, and 23, 22, 23 for March,
Okay.
with the
Okay.
Daytona 200 in between.
Yes. Well, then I guess I'll see you at Daytona. Good
Yeah.
luck to you guys.
No, I'll see you at February.
007's
Are you
coming back.
gonna be at that February one?
Oh, I have to go to all of them, dude. I'm like Richard's timing bitch.
Yeah, I think JU's running that test for me. I'm going to Spain.
Oh,
So-
oh. Poor bastard.
I know.
Right on, man. Well, you know what? It's been a good chat, and I'll see you at Daytona, buddy.
All right, thanks, man. See ya.